How do you get to the point of never fucking quitting, never failing? No matter if you fall on your face, no matter if you lose it all, you're going to do the same fucking shit every day. Welcome to 45 on the Hour podcast. I'm your host, Colt 45, and this is Improvise, Adapting, and Overcoming. But I got to introduce you first, bro. We're here with the Dark Knight. What's up, bro?
Good morning.
Good morning, bro. It's been a minute since we've done our own, right? Without a guest, right?
Maybe a month or two.
It's been maybe a month or two. We just thought, we were talking about it. We just thought that this was a good podcast type for the way the world is right now. You know, being so, I don't even know what you want to call it. It's just so up and down right now. It's weird. It's like hot right now. It's a little.
Yeah, it's heating up a little bit.
There you go.
It's summertime.
It is, right?
First day of summer, second day of summer, whatever it is. You know, this morning we both had a little bit of a crazy day. I think all three of us in here, but it was also like handling stuff left and right, making money before we even got here, and like setting up the day to be killed. You know, we're on it today, but equal parts like, oh, I don't want to do this.
Straight up, bro. Just had my protein, bro. I'm ready to go, dude. No matter what happens, bro, we improvise, we adapt, and overcome. And guys, if you don't know where that comes from the Marine Corps, okay? That is a Marine Corps slogan, all right?
Get it done.
And it's important that you guys understand this, okay? And it doesn't have to be just a guy thing, all right? It's an everybody thing. Mm-hmm. Women, men, everybody, okay? So I want to go into like just talking about this and just kind of getting the basic mindset of it and like what it really means, right? So obviously me and Eric were both in the Marine Corps, okay? In the Marine Corps, they have a motto, improvise, adapt, and overcome, okay? So let's just break it down, okay? You got to improvise. So let's talk about improvising.
Thinking on the fly, making do with what you have at hand, you know?
Right, so what you have to deal with, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like what do you have within literally your hands to deal with, right? Or in your mind. Like, what is it that you have the capability of use for, right? Or use with, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then adapting, right? So adapting to the situation, right? So, like, how many people get into a situation and they're like, oh, well, this isn't my type of situation, so I have to fold, right?
Yeah, I you know, sometimes we go back to emotions. Like, if I'm not happy with my way, can I turtle up with my emotion, or can I just go with the flow and see what else is going to happen? You know, the situation, a lot of times you think it's worse than what it is.
Correct.
A calm mind, somebody that could take a step back and look at it, will make a good plan.
Correct. No matter what happens to the plan, you know, even if the plan goes to hell, what are you going to do? Right? That's adapting, right?
We're going to adapt, yeah.
Right? And so that goes back to personal development, right? Because if you have a plan and it goes to shit, right? And they say this, who says it? Rocky? He says,
everybody has a
plan until they get punched in the face, right? Or something like that.
I could see that.
Right? And so what does that mean? That just means that like, hey, shit can hit you, but what are you going to do about it when shit hits you, right?
Mm-hmm.
That gets us into like the word overcome, right? So improvise, adapt, overcome, right? So pain isn't the problem, it's quitting, right? Mm-hmm. Quitting's the actual problem. That's what I think.
Stopping, you know, we could say quitting is like stopping your forward effort.
Correct.
You know, you didn't accomplish your goal, you're a couple steps away, I'm going to quit.
Correct.
It will never happen.
It can't. No, and you got to get to the point. So I think real success, guys, real longevity in life is about how do you get to the point of never fucking quitting, never failing. No matter if you fall on your face, no matter if you lose it all, you're going to do the same fucking shit every day. If you can convince yourself that that is your life, then nothing matters. And life will unfold as it unfolds, right? Because first of all, it's in God's hands, right? Your journey's in God's hands. So you have no control over your actual life. He does, okay? So you got to understand that. So once you let go of the control and you make sure that the daily tasks that you do every day, starting from your morning, get accomplished, okay? The things that you say you're going to do, you do them, right? Even if you don't want to do them, right? That's discipline. But a lot of people just quit. they get into a little bit of pain, a little bit of discomfort, and they quit. But on the other side of pain is the result you want, correct? So I think that a lot of people don't understand that. And I think that's probably the most important part of this, right? That we really need to understand. And that's why the Marine Corps has that motto, right? We improvise, we adapt, and we overcome. Because we never fucking quit. That's the thing with the Marine Corps. It's like you have this impenetrable shield. I feel like I have a fucking shield on.
A lot of times,
because of what I've...
not to cut you off,
No,
but,
you're good.
but a lot of times, like, in life, you reach a certain position and, you're like, am I going to dig deep or am I going to give up? Am I gonna rally forward? Am I gonna put effort, or is it they got me? So sometimes I think back to the Marine Corps. Now we're in boot camp, right? Recruit training. Like, I'm not gonna give up because this guy's not giving up.
Fuck yeah.
Even if I want to, right? Man, I wanted to give up a long time ago, but this guy didn't. That helps boost you up. That's just one like little characteristic of like, how we could help each other. Man, this guy, I'm hurting, but this guy's not, or he is, and he hasn't given up, right? Boom, we were stronger like that together. So I don't know like how that plays out sometimes, but like you kind of like educated me a little bit today on like business too, like not giving up, and like I always bounce stuff off you. Like that's my go-to, so I'm grateful for you for that. We should have had the mics on before because you dropped a lot of business advice.
I know, we were just going back and forth on some shit.
But like you're like, that's dude. So
the only difference is I've just been through some things that maybe you haven't been through, just because I have multiple companies, right? And I've seen more of the same shit, and I've seen the result of that same shit, right? And it's never really that bad. A lot of the problems that we have, I think we don't ask ourselves certain questions. You know what I'm saying? And I think the questions are important. Like, this is a question, right? Is the thought of giving up versus the grind worth it? Right? That's a question. Mm-hmm. So if you're asking yourself, like, fuck, if I give up and I'm not grinding through this shit, or if I'm going to grind through this shit and I'm going to give her, like, what's the trade-off? Like, where am I benefiting from this, right? Sometimes there isn't a benefit. Sometimes the work just instills the worth itself, right? Because if you're doing something and you're getting accomplishments every single moment of every single day, and you just start stacking wins all fucking day long, because that's really where the real self-worth comes from. It doesn't come from like really making money or anything like that. It comes from the work itself, right? The value in that is that you get the results you need.
What Colt is describing right now is winning the day.
Correct.
Yeah,
thanks for pointing that out.
Winning the day, for those of you who don't know, it's like you killed your day. Yeah, you did everything you said you were going to do. You handled all your shit. You stood there, and you knocked it out of the park.
What about people that think that they're like, well, I don't really have a whole lot to do today. Well, you create stuff, right?
Oh man, well, you don't have let me talk to you so I could give you all my stuff to do. Like that goes out the window. You fight for your free time now. There's no free time. When you're focused, when you're pursuing the things you want to do, like your whole life is towards that. Like you said,
like when you have that fucking vision, bro, and you have that goal and you're like, fuck, dude, I got to do this shit. And you got to think of your why, right? Because we always go back to that. So for me, it's like, it's my kids, it's my family. It's like, I got to be able to keep my house. I got to be able to keep my vehicles. I got to be able to keep my shit going. The life that I want to live right now costs this much money. Mm-hmm. And for me to do that, I have to produce this amount of work. And for me to have that, I have to call this amount of people. And I have to do this amount of stuff. And I have to wake up at this time. And I have to make sure I do all these things so that I can keep the life that I want for them, right? Because they're my why, right? Because I can't give up on... I give up on myself, right? Give up on myself, that's like whatever's, right? That's kind of shitty. But to give up on your kids, bro, that's something else, And so
that helps you push a little bit more.
That helps me push, right? That helps me improvise, adapt, and overcome, because improvising, adapting, overcome still has to have a why, right? You still have to have that why, right? You still have to figure that out.
Why would be what? The mission, what you're trying to accomplish?
Could be.
Okay.
Could be.
So figure out what you're trying to do with your life.
So this is like more of like a military thing, but it does apply to life.
This is in
the civilian world.
But would you say, Colt, in your mind, like your mind? I have like a menu of like military thoughts, philosophies, just like things to help me figure out life right now.
Yes.
A lot of them would get you arrested, but some of them they work pretty good. They get you into real trouble.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right. 100%. I just think that we just got to understand that even though you've been through the worst, you still fucking showed up. And I think a lot of you guys, I mean, you guys just aren't giving yourselves enough credit. And I think that when you guys sit there and you're a little depressed about your life and, oh my God, I've been through this life and I've been through all this shit and I've had all these bad things happen to me, or, relationship failures, or, you met the wrong person, they wasted your time, or whatever.
Yeah, a lot of personal L's,
Here's the thing. All that shit's a win. All of it. It's all fucking win.
Just got to shift the way you see it.
You got to shift the way that you see it, how you recognize it. Because all these losses are wins in reality, in retrospect, because that gives you life experience. And what that gives you is reasons why you don't want to do that again. So you don't make the same mistake over and over again. If you make enough mistakes, you end up living a pretty perfect life. Do you understand?
You
have to make those mistakes to get the feeling of those mistakes, because that feeling, that emotional response creates a memory, right? So that's what they say. That's what is it? What is it? The lasting effect of a long emotional response is a memory. So
okay.
So yeah, and so to create a deep memory, right, for something, you have to have something deep that happens with it. So a lot of people go through life and, I hear this a lot about relationships. Oh, this person, they fucked me over. I was with them for 10 years and I gave them this and that and this and that, and I can't move on. Okay, we know a lot of people like that, don't we? And they're just sitting in their shit all day long, just sitting in their shit. Just literally, just think about yourself just sitting in a pile of shit all fucking day long, and it stinks, and that's your aura that you're giving off, right? That's your presence. And you're giving that off every day because you had such a long emotional response to that situation for such a long time. And that created such a deep, dark memory, right? And a lot of people have trouble getting out of that, right? So instead of adapting, improvising, and overcoming, right? Okay, well, these things happen to me, so I'm going to adapt to my feelings. I'm going to recognize that my feelings are valid, and I'm going to give myself that credit. But I'm also going to change the way that I feel by starting to pursue certain feelings of presence around other people. I'm going to be around a different frequency. I'm going to go be in a life group. I'm going to go to church. All these things make me a little uncomfortable because I'm not situated with them properly. But I'm going to maybe try jujitsu because I've never done anything physically hard. But I don't want to go to the gym. I want to go to jujitsu because it's like real high cardio, and I'm scared to death of it. But I'm gonna overcome it. I'm gonna do the shit that's hard, and I'm just not gonna quit. Right. So all those things result into real life. So all it takes is just literally just taking the small steps, just the decision to just try, motherfuckers. Try. Get out there and fucking try. Just don't sit there and live the same life every day. Because most of us go to that because that's our comfort zone. We wake up in our comfort, wake up at whatever time you wake up, 10 o'clock, you grind through the day, you drink your alcohol, you do all your bad vices, you think about the same thoughts that you thought about yesterday, the day before that, and you just sit in this cycle, right? And that cycle doesn't allow you to improvise, adapt, and overcome. You're just sitting in basically like the same thing every day, and you end up going backwards, right? If you live in the same life every day and you're not growing, you end up going backwards.
It's like we talked about, like stopping the plateau, stopping the growth. Like as soon as you start putting that forward effort, you retrograde, you slide backwards. Like you said with the vices, with the drinking. Now you want to sleep in. That's we see it right there. Boom.
And a lot of people are saying, "Oh, it's not that easy." No. I was there.
Yeah.
I was there. So I'm the first to tell you from experience, okay, that your mindset can shift. You have to be recognized. You have to recognize the questions that you ask yourself every day. If you're asking yourself questions about loss and remorse and regret and failures, and you're just constantly asking yourself those questions, then that's what you're frequently going to see. You're going to frequently see that in your vision. But if you ask yourself questions like, could I get out of this? And then what would that look like if I got out of this? What would that life look like? Like if I got out of this situation where I'm just sitting in shit all day and I feel these feelings of remorse and regret and I'm having trouble getting over it. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try different things. I'm going to try focusing on forgiveness. I'm going to try forgiving myself. I'm going to try forgiving that person. Like I always tell you, like I wake up every morning and I forgive my enemies.
I was going to touch on that earlier. I think that's such a crazy thing to go into yourself and start digging out all the negative feelings, because that's what you're, man, if I change the way I feel about this person and I refuse my judgment on them, like the weight is off me, regardless of how they feel, right? But that's uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? And that's also in your let's go back to free time. That's in your free time.
It's uncomfortable to take accountability for negative feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Because most of the time those negative feelings was something that either you did to yourself or that someone else did to you. And now you're projecting that onto somebody else that just wants to love you and be there for you. So you have all these people that constantly pass through your life. Good people, bad people, whatever it is. The good people, I want to focus on those because there's a lot more good people than bad people in this world.
Mm-hmm.
So if anyone ever thinks that, like, oh, man, there's so many bad people out there and I can't trust anyone. No, you can. You have to try.
Yeah, you got to change your perspective. You got to find some new people if that's the group you're around. But
you can have boundaries. You can have limits. You can allow people to like enter your life through time. But the only way to live life is to be completely open about it and open to new things and new changes because that's how you grow. You grow by learning.
Mm-hmm. And going back to the bad people you met, that was also for you to learn.
Correct.
Hey, this is how you're going to learn these
I'm
things.
gonna tell you, man. I met a lot of fucking bad people, right? And most of those bad people that were bad people, they end up being like some of the most honest people in the future, and the most transparent people in the future, the most giving people in the future. People with a past, okay? Let me just tell you this, okay? People with a past of drugs and violence and, the worst.
I would just say
possible lives to the media.
I would also say like anything that you are personally ashamed of, or like that you have like in you. You know what I'm saying? Like who knows? Sometimes it's so funny. Like, oh, what? That's what you feel bad about, and like somebody's like, that's nothing to me, but it's the big deal to them. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody deals with something. No, everybody's got something.
Correct. But these people, like a lot of these people, like look at they look at bad people and they're like, oh, you've been in prison for 20 years, and it's like, well, I did this thing when I was younger, I did a robbery, or I was involved in drug possession and dealing, or whatever it was that they did. These people have paid the price.
They did their time.
They did their time. They did it. They were honest about it. They got out, and then now they see the world a little different. Now they have a lot less time in this world, right? And they burned it all doing that. So a lot of people with a past believe in a different reality, okay? They believe that you have to be honest because in that world, I would say like more of like the underworld, those people work off of your words and what you say. So what you say you have to do. There is no, I'm not going to be there tomorrow. There is no, hey, let's set an appointment. If you're about that life and you're about that business and you've been through a lot of shit, your word is all you have. When you've had your life taken from you every single moment for so many years, you've either been incarcerated or you've almost died 1,000 times, you end up having a better value on life. Those people I tend to trust a little bit more than the person that's never been through anything. You could take a guy that's like a Princeton graduate, that's had the perfect family, and never done anything wrong in his life. And I would probably trust someone with a past more over that person personally because they haven't had enough life experience. They haven't been humbled enough in life. I think honesty in life, and to be transparent and 100% authentic comes with being humbled and having a lot of adversity.
Oh, homie, like if you don't humble yourself, life is going to humble you.
Fucking
nobody here.
And any of you guys out there that say it, I know there's some young kids that listen to this stuff. If you do not find a way to humble yourself, life will do it for you. It will do it for you. And it will do it in ways of karmic debt. I promise you, anyone, and I believe in karma. You can call karma whatever you want, but in reality, karma is just getting what you deserve. I believe that people get what they deserve eventually. Okay? They always do.
There's
and
also,
if there is somebody, if you're out there and you're a bad person, you're not doing the right thing, you're eventually going to get taught a lesson. God will humble you in his own way. Okay? He might take things from you. He might put you away for a while. That might be your journey.
It is how the lesson needs to present itself.
Correct, but he also uses you for that lesson. Sometimes that lesson needs to be taught because you're the offering. So if you're the offering and you have to go through all this shit, it's because he wants you to be a soldier on the other end for his people that are a little bit weaker than you.
Crazy.
God only gives you, right?
Crazy.
God only gives you what you can handle. So if you're going to be the one that he's going to make an example of, and he's going to say, you know what, listen, like he did me, Colt, I'm going to take your father from you at 5, okay? Your father's going to have to go through this transition to be a female. You're going to live with a single mother, until you grow up. And she's going to have, a feud with some ex dudes, and you're going to have to be the man of the house at 7 years old, and you're going to have to raise your mom and your sister, and you're going to have to learn how to be a man on your own. And I'm doing that because I need to use you in the future. You're my son, and I'm going to teach you. So before I knew that, I didn't understand it, but now I understand it. And I understand now that, like, I was the offering because he only uses the people that can handle it, okay, as the offering. So technically you're a soldier in that play. So the people that have been through the most shit are God's soldiers. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't that sound sick? That sounds so hard.
It does.
I love that.
And it does make a lot of sense, too, when you want to be like, man, I try so hard. Like, I try to do everything right. Why isn't it not working for me? Or like, I came from a rough situation, or I've had to deal with something that was not my fault. Like, why? To teach you the lesson.
We ask ourselves why, don't we? But why? Why do we ask ourselves why?
We want to
we want understanding, right? We want to know. We want to be validated, bro. But sometimes you don't need to understand why, bro. It's called faith. Right? We could ask ourselves 1,000 reasons why does God exist? Like, why is he there? Is he there? Some people ask that. Thing is if you don't have faith in the journey, in the blueprint that's been provided for you, then you have nothing really. You really don't. I think you just have to have faith in the above. I think you have to pay attention to that. When you're trying to ask yourself, like, why this, why me? Instead of thinking, why me, just understand that this is the road that's been paved for you, and you're walking it.
And in actuality, like, it's not even that hard of, like, some of the ones that have came before. We have everything today. We just got to be, good people, good leaders in our community, and friggin'.
There's always someone that has it worse.
Oh yeah, for sure.
There's people that, like, even in my eyes, I feel like I had a pretty rough life growing up. But then I see, I meet people on this podcast that have had drug problems, had done home invasions, gotten arrested, did incarceration for 13 years, had all their teeth knocked out, been through multiple gangs, been shot and stabbed and, overdosed multiple times. And they should be dead 1,000 times, but yet they're sitting in front of me and they're changing people's lives. And I'm wondering why. Like, why were they chosen? I don't think we'll ever understand why we were chosen, except for the reason that God knew that you would be the stronger one. And he's like, you can handle this, my son or my daughter, and I'm going to use you as my soldier on the ground. And I need you to be the strong one. I need you to teach my children how to heal. And that's what I believe, man. I believe that's my purpose, and that's those people's purpose. So anyone that had, like, a traumatic life, and they're just struggling right now, and they're like, fuck, what about this? What about that? You were chosen. You're one of God's people. You're just as good as you are today as you were yesterday. God loves you the way you are. You're good enough the way you are, and you don't need to change anything about yourself. Just focus on getting closer to him. And if you can focus on getting closer to him, the path will unpay for you, okay? It'll pay for you. And with that, you'll be able to utilize everything that you've learned from the past to heal everybody else. Because that's the point of this. The point of this is to heal God's children, because you're supposed to be that soldier for him. And I think that the closer that you get to understanding healing, and, I was talking to someone this morning, and I was talking to them, and they were saying, like, I feel like we've been growing apart. And I was like, no, we're not growing apart. I'm just growing up. And he was like, well, what does that mean, that I'm growing down? I was like, no, maybe you're just staying the same. I'm not sure. But when you start growing, you start feeling lonely for a little bit. And you start doing different things, especially when you start improvising, adapting, and overcoming. Because once you keep overcoming the same shit, and problems just don't stick with you anymore. You get a problem, you write it off the whiteboard, it's done. You're just like,
you know how to deal with it the next time.
Well, yeah, you become more confident.
It's just boom. Oh, that same problem, do this. That same problem, do this.
Right, and so that's why I pray for problems now. Sounds crazy, though. I pray for them. I'm like, okay, cool. I wake up in the morning, I pray to God. I say, hey, God, I just want to thank you for allowing me to wake up my eyes today. I do this every day, I swear. And I say I pray for my enemies. Anyone that hates my guts, or doesn't like me for whatever reason, I hope they heal. Because I know they're the hurt ones. I love everybody. And I'm going to do the best I can today. I'm going to give you the day, and I'm going to give it to you through my sacrifice, forgiving myself today, and I'm going to give you everything that I have today to prove to you that I deserve another one after this. And that's how I live life. I go, this life's not written out forever, and I don't know how much more time you got me here for, but I'm going to make sure that today counts.
You are,
and I make sure my motherfucking day counts, bro. If you watch my Instagram stories, bro, I make sure that motherfucking day counts.
Cool. You live your life like a warrior.
I live it moment by moment, bro.
What I mean by that is, are you a warrior or are you an average person? Because the average person sees everything that happens to him negatively in their life as like a curse, but the warrior sees all the things that negative things that happen as a blessing. You know what I'm saying? Like
how you see things.
This is nothing to me.
I just want you guys to know something. Emotions go up and down, okay? If you're having a bad day and everyone's attacking you for this day, everyone's super emotional, just understand that tomorrow they might not be.
Mm-hmm.
Or the day after that. Day after that, they might be a super high emotion. They might love you to death and want to talk to you all day long. How many guys? We've all had that, right? You too, Ghost, right? Yeah. You know, people come at you and they're all crazy. They hate you. You didn't call me back. They block you, whatever. I don't know. Whatever. It's just crazy, right? People's emotions, you know. I just laugh about it. I just laugh. I just go, oh, my God. They're going through it today. I love them. I think I love them. I go, I love you. That's usually what I do. I write back, I love you, you know. And I'll like throw them a little kissy face. And they think that I'm taunting them, but I'm not. I'm testing them, right? Because God says this, okay? And this is something that he does. So God will test you, but the devil will taunt you. You guys know the difference?
Break it down.
Okay. So taunting is like giving you something that you're going to fail at. So for like, I don't know, for a guy, it'd be like, someone's like, hey, bro, you want to sell this, you know, this little eighth of weed or whatever, you know, and, you know, you'll make some money real quick, you know. I know you need money for your family, right? That's a taunt. It's not, you know, that's like set up for you to fail because you've already done it. Maybe you've done it in the past or something, you know, and that's like, it's taunting you to do something that you're going to fail at,
right?
Basically, right? You're going to fail. You're going to get in trouble or something. Just giving you a scenario. I don't even know it's 100% valid. And then there's a test, right? So a test is like something that you can pass. That's possible to pass, right? And it's meant for you to go through a trial and have some sort of adversity in it so that you overcome it, so that you feel like you overcame something. But it's meant for you to pass. So God tests you. The devil taunts you. The devil taunts you with women too. You know, people pursuing you in your inbox, you know, trying to get you to cheat on your wife or spouse, girlfriend, something like that. You know, he'll taunt you with pictures, things like that. Try to get you into, you know, deviating from, you know, your current situation, whether that's being loyal and faithful to someone that you're with or not. Those are taunting situations, and they're meant for you to fail because that's just the way it is. You know, the devil wants you to fail. God wants you to pass the test. So he gives you a test that he knows you can overcome.
Right on.
Right? So good tests, you know, like a test would be like, hey.
But these tests make you a better person.
Correct. Like a test like, hey, you're low on money this month. You're not going to be able to pay rent. And then all of a sudden the phone rings and you got a guy that wants to give you a job, but it's 2 hours away. And normally you decline that job because it's too far, but God knows that you can drive there. You're just going to have to put in a little bit more of a hustle, right? You got to work a little bit later, but you're going to get that job done. You're going to go out there and you're going to do it. But that's a test. It's a test that you can pass. All you got to do is go. And you got the job. He gave it to you. He provided for you. But are you going to make the journey? Are you going to go? So those are like tests. You know, like you see the difference? It's not, it's like all you have to do is go. You know, but a taunt is like it's right there in your face and all you got to do is look and you got to reply. You know what I'm saying? And it's a little bit more deviant. You know what I'm saying?
I get you.
I don't know if that explains it well enough, but I understand it. Do you understand it, Ghost? Yeah? Give me your taunt, bro. What's a taunt for you? Give me 3 examples of taunting. What about you, bro?
Taunting, I mean, I could see like right now, sometimes my mind is always about the business. So like taunting would be like somebody that like is interested, but like they're really not. And I'm wasting my time and energy and focus on them when it should be on somebody else.
What about testing?
Testing would be how we were talking earlier, reaching out to somebody that hasn't been showing up, you know, and pulling them back in rather than cutting them off, or like letting them be on their own.
Yeah, testing is helping you. Taunting isn't.
Boom.
Right?
Yeah. No, I get that.
Yeah.
Hey, that's the...
It's just like criticism, right? If you criticize someone, you're a piece of shit. But if you constructively criticize them,
You build them up. You build them.
So the difference is criticizing someone is like putting someone down or telling them that there's a problem with something and then not having a solution for it. Constructive criticism is like, hey, there's a problem, you need help, and I'm going to walk you through it, grab my hand. You see what I'm saying? That's the difference. So constructive criticism is honorable. Even though it feels like the same thing, it's not. Because you're giving them a solution out of it. You can't just go, hey, you're a fucking piece of shit because you're a liar, and then not have a way out of saying like, but here's the thing. If you would just only follow through with your word, and the things that you say, I would have more faith in you. So I want to help you with that, bro. I want to give you like some tips on that or something like that, like some way of like helping them learn how to better themselves. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of us fail at that in life. A lot of us fail at that. We're just so selfish. We're so self-centered. And that's why, people got this whole fucking narcissist bullshit. They go, oh, you're a narcissist. That's all people care about because people want to believe that everyone's selfish. I don't believe that. I believe the complete opposite. I believe that everyone's selfless, right? You understand the difference?
Everybody wants to give of themselves to others.
Correct. That's selflessness. And I think that because maybe they're not doing it right now, but they have the ability to do it. So instead of seeing people as like human beings that could fuck me over or screw me over, right? I see the world as like everyone has the ability to give something to me, right? That's not me being selfish. I'm just saying I believe that they can give something to everybody, including myself. So selflessness is like, hey, you might come up to me and have a conversation about something to me that might change my mindset on something for the future because you have a different life experience in that aspect than I do, right? Or, even like fitness. Like I didn't think that fitness was the way it was until I got deeper into it. And I kept being more open-minded and allowing my mind to hear things that made sense to me or didn't make sense to me. So I was more open-minded about that. So I put myself around people that are selfless, right? And in the fitness community, everyone's selfless because everyone wants you to do great. Because when you work that hard on yourself, you see the results and people feel the fucking results, okay? And when I go somewhere and I walk around and I take off my shirt, I get a comment, typically, almost, and this is not being cocky or anything, it's just a fact. If I walk into the gym, I take off my shirt outside, dudes will approach me and ask me a question. Hey, man, how did you do that exercise?
They see the effort on your body. They see the
effort.
They see the authenticity.
They do. And they know that it's not easy to get there. So they're like, what are you doing that I'm not doing? Because most people want to have somewhat of a level that you have. So people want to learn from other humans. So I have to be selfless, and I got to take my time with them, and I got to go, okay, this is what I did, brother. I have a fitness program that you could join, and I could help you monthly and every day so I could put more time towards you. But if you just want some basic information, this is what you're going to have to do. A lot of people get confused. Well, I don't understand that. How do I diet? How do I do this? Okay, well, I have a plan. You're going to have to sit down and talk about it. But I'm going to give you enough information where you could do it on your own, or I could walk you through it and hold your hand, right? But I'm going to be selfless in that fact. So human beings are here to help each other in the end of it, right? So if you're ever thinking that you're alone, right, and you got to improvise, adapt, and overcome on your own, you don't have to. You don't have to. The world's out there to help you. You just got to be able to pay attention and listen, right? I always use this what is it? What do you call it? An acronym or a slogan? I always say, hey, don't let what I'm saying fall on deaf ears. I say that to everybody.
Okay.
And what that means is
think about it.
Yeah, make sure that you're listening to what I'm saying, right? Don't just hear what I'm saying and then shut it out. Like, act on it.
This is real knowledge right now.
Yeah, you better act on the shit I'm saying, because if you don't, then I'm not going to give you any more free information. Okay? Because information is here to help you. I'm here to constructively criticize you and help you. And if you're not going to take the information, then that's fine. But I won't be offering that information anymore.
There goes like not a relationship, but like you're not going to act on the things that I'm prescribing to you.
I only have so much energy to give. And if you're not going to utilize my energy, then I'll wait till you are ready to hear me. Then, but for now, I'm going to put you over here, and I still love you. You're my brother and sister, but I'm going to focus on this person that's waving their hands at me for me to help them.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to keep living my life in my own way, constructively building myself, and then when people approach me for that help or those questions, I'm going to be there to assist them, and I'm going to help them get to wherever they need to do, because that's what human beings do. We're selfless.
As coaches and teachers, like, you have a question, like, you got to be here. You got to hop on the plan. You got to do that. You got to write it with us. We'll give you all the knowledge, but without you guys doing it, practical, like, application, like, it falls on deaf ears.
100%. That piss you off when you're a Marine?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, because we don't do that, right? And I love that about some of you guys. I know a lot of you guys are like that, but it's a very small few of you that when you say something, you follow through with it, you know?
Whether you want to or not.
I don't even care if your timing doesn't have to be perfect, right? You're off a little bit on timing, you know? I'm off on timing sometimes. But as long as your word is there, like, hey, I'm going to call you tomorrow at 7. You know, you call me at 7:05, I'm fucking solid, dude. I'm like, that motherfucker just earned 20 points. You know? That needs to change, okay? And I think that in itself, just keeping your word to your fucking self, because I never not kept my word to me. That's the thing. That's the only reason I'm here, and that's the only reason why I never fucking quit, is I learned how to never quit on me, okay? Because if I quit on me, then I quit on you. Right? Quit on my family, quit on my kids.
Going back to your why.
I can't quit on me, you know? And the end of it, in closing, if life presses you, it's testing you. Okay? Just remember that. If things are getting harder, you're being tested by the above.
And we don't quit.
Right? Adapting is power. Improvising is survival. Overcoming is legacy. Anyone can win when it's easy, but how do you move when the world is on fire? Okay. A lot of you guys just want the glory, right? You want that glory. You want that kingdom. You want all that beautiful stuff. But are you willing to go through the shit to get there? Because at the end of the day, if someone just gave that to you and gave you all that glory,
it wouldn't be worth it.
It wouldn't be worth it. It's not worth it without that fight, you know? And honestly, you probably wouldn't be able to handle it.
Yeah, for sure.
You went straight to the top and was given whatever it is that you want in life, this glorious life. It'd be too hard for you. The amount of pressure, the amount of bills, the anguish, the people that are attacking you at that point, you wouldn't have been through enough trials and tribulations to understand that, hey, this is how I can get through that. This is how I block out the noise, right? That's why they say that, like, you know, a lot of people that become millionaires are broke within like 2 years, you know, a few years. Like they run out of all their money, you know? They don't know what to do with it. They get rich, everyone wants some, they give it to everybody, and then they have nothing. You have to slowly acclimatize when you're climbing a mountain, okay? You can't just walk up to the top of Mount Everest. You got to walk up, you got to walk back down. You got to sit up there for a few days, if not a few weeks.
Yeah.
You got to acclimatize, you got to acclimatize, you got to acclimatize.
The mountain of life is not straight
because
up.
if you walk,
ups and downs.
If you walk straight up there with no air, literally, if you could walk one step at a time all the way up to the top of Mount Everest, you would die. You would die because you wouldn't be able to breathe, bro. Do you know that?
Yeah, you need to take oxygen tanks. You need to acclimatize.
If you had oxygen tanks, that's a different story. But if you literally just used your lungs and you didn't acclimatize, which means that you'd have to build up, you know, smaller
air pockets or whatever.
I think it's something to do with your blood cells in your body. Like they're bigger down here, and up there they're smaller. They shrink because there's less oxygen, so you need to multiply, and it takes time to multiply. Just like as if you gave blood, it takes you like a day or two. You know, they say don't work out, don't do a high exercise because you could get lightheaded, right? There's not enough blood running to or not oxygen running to your brain. The same with climbing a mountain. So if you want to be at the top of Mount Everest, you can't just walk up there. You got to walk up and you got to walk back down. You got to acclimatize. You got to stop at base camp for a little bit. You got to go back to base camp. Sometimes you got to go back to the med field, which is even lower, and then go back to base camp and then go to the top, which is the same with life, right? Adapt, improvise, and overcome. Sometimes you try, you fail, you go back a couple years. You know, you have to rebuild a business. You fail another one. You go back. You have a good relationship. It ends in 2 years. You have a great relationship. It lasts for a lifetime. You have a kid. You know, now you get divorced. Now you're doing split with the kids. Life is ups, downs, ups, downs. Now you just got to think about, what am I in control of? Focus on what you have control of, okay? And then live by that. Live by that. Other than that, guys, in closing, if life's pressing you, it's testing you, okay? If it's taunting you, that's the devil speaking. You got anything else?
No, it was a fire podcast, dude. Thank you. Thank you. Educated me.
That was good. You did too.
I'm blown away.
I just heard a bunch of good stuff. All these bangers, dude. I was like,
yeah,
some good reels right there, bro. You know? All right, bro. Until next time, guys, get up, get after it, and get some.
Bitch, don't get too comfortable. Better not get too comfortable. Better not get too comfortable. Yeah, bitch, don't get too comfortable.